we're going to make what's called a box and whisker plot today. And what a box and whisker plot is what a box and whisker plot is it's like a picture of the data. It's a picture that describes where all of the data is. And I'm going to show you how in a second. So the following are test scores. Use the data. You're going to have directions just like this on your homework. It says use the data to make a box and whisker plot. So step number 1. You might want to write this down. You got a pencil? No. You may borrow one that someone offered you. Okay? There. She's got one. Number 1, put the data in numerical order. That means that we got to take these numbers and we put it in order. So we got, what's our lowest one? Okay, so 74. Then we got what? 78. I see a 79. 78. 79. 84. 85. 88. 91. 94. And 98. Okay. Step 1, put the data in numerical order and find the median. Well, that's easy enough. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers. So we take 4 off the top side. This one, this one, this one, this one. We take 4 off the back side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we got this one left. So our median is 85. Easy enough, right? Step number 2, find a quartile 1 and quartile 3. Now, this is what, first of all, you don't know what a quartile is, so that's probably step number 1. You might want to write this down. A quartile, or I'll say quartile 1, is the median of the first half of the data. So basically, we found the median, which is the halfway point, right? Right there, that's the halfway point. Quartile 1 is the median of the first half. So we have to find the median of the first half. So knowing that, what do you think quartile 3 is? The median of the second half. So Q3 is the median of the second half. So in order to find quartile 1, or Q1, we got to take the first half, which is 74, 78, 79, and 84, and we need to find what is the median of the first half. You can look at this. I know that you can tell. We got 4 of them, so we take the 2 end ones off, and we have 78 and 79 in the middle. What is it? Add together and divide by 2, and if we did that, we would come up with what? 78.5. The other way, kind of quick trick to it, is what's halfway point between those two numbers. And the halfway point between 78 and 79 is 78.5. So we're going to say Q1 equals 78.5. Okay? Well, what's Q3 then? We got 88, 91, 94, and 98. We got to go 91 and 94. That one's We know it's not 92. What is it? 92.5? Add them up. 91 plus 94. We got a 5 here. We got an 18 here. We got 185 divided by 2. We got a 9. We got an 18. We got a 0. Bring this down. That's a 5. That's a... I'm sorry, a 2 minus 4 is 1. Add a 0. Bring it down because we're going to put a decimal there. 2, 5. 92.5. So my Q3 is 92.5. Cool. So we got step number 1 taken care of. We got step number 2 taken care of. Well, let's see what step number 3 is. Step number 3. We got our number line. Let's move this up here. All right. Step number 3. It says plot the smallest value, the largest value, Q. First of all, we can easily find the smallest value and the largest value. We don't need that. Q1, Q3, and the median on the number line. Okay. Well, what was our smallest value? We started with 74, right? Okay. So let's do this. Let's go our number line. We can say that this one's 72, 73. We got to make the number line. I happen to have a nice number line here already made for us. 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. Uh-oh, I hope I have enough. I don't. Huh. We'd have to extend it. 95. So we'll go another line here, make it 96. Another line 97. Another line 98. Okay? So we would have had to extend our number line a little bit. Now, plot the smallest value. What was the smallest one we had? What was the smallest one? $74. What's the largest one? 98. Okay. So we plot that. That means we put a dot at 74. We plot one at the largest, 98. We need Q1. What was Q1? What did we decide Q1 was? 78.5. So we go 78 and 79. We go halfway in between there. So we make that dot there. What was Q3? 92.5. So we put a dot here. And the median. What was our median? 85. Put a dot there at 85. This isn't complicated, is it? It's not very hard. It's pretty easy to do. So step 3, plot the smallest value, largest value, Q1, Q3, and the median on the number line. Got that done. Step number 4, make a box around Q1 to Q3. Okay, so here's what we do. We make a box. There's Q1. all the way to Q3. A line at the median, so we draw a line down there, and extend the whiskers to the least value and the greatest value. There's a box, and there's your whiskers. Yes, Elijah. Because I like to have a little bit on each side, but as it turns out, I didn't have enough dots. It's fine. Okay? So, you have all 4 steps to making a box and whisker plot. You guys should be able to make one now, especially if you wrote down all the steps. It'll help you remember. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this data. How much of the data, how many of the test scores are inside of this box? What percent? How many test scores do we have? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Think about this. How many of you are familiar with basketball? Okay, good. How many quarters are there in a basketball game? Well, if it's 2, it's a half. If it's quarters, it's 4. Okay? Right? Think about this as a basketball game. Our Q1, or quartile 1, ends right here, doesn't it? First quarter. Our second quarter ends at halftime. Right there, right? Our third quarter ends right here, right? And our fourth quarter ends at the end of the game. When we drew our box and whisker plot, we had a box and whisker plot. Our box was here. Our median or halftime was there. Our start of the game was here. Our end of the game was here. How much of the game is inside the box? 1 quarter, 2 quarters. How much of the game? 50%. Half the game was inside the box. Right? How much of the game was here? 25%. 1 quarter of it. How much of the game was here? 25%. So if you look, this is a way of looking at your data. You have 50%, half of all of the test scores are within that range. Right, Anna? Half of them are within that range. So if I was a teacher and I would go, okay, I'm going to make a box and whisker plot of all the scores. I wanted, or I just glanced at that box and whisker plot, I would go, oh, look at that. Half of my students were between 78.5 and 92.5. So half of my students, I don't even have to look at the numbers. I can just look at this box and whisker plot and I can say, oh, look at that. Half of my students are between a 78.5% and a 92.5%. That's a pretty good percentage as a teacher. And I can go, oh man, but a quarter of my students were below 78%. But on the other hand, a quarter of them were above 92.5. So I can just look at this and I can, without even ever even looking at the numbers, if I have a box and whisker plot, I can say, wow, the lowest score is 74, the highest score is 98, and half the scores are between 78.5 and 92.5. It's a quick way of looking at data. If you weren't the one to make it, like if I took this chart, if I took this box and whisker plot over to Mr. Nelson and said, hey, Mr. Nelson, look at my test scores, he would be able to do that. He would be able to look at that and go, oh, wow, half of them are within that range. He'd be able to know what the low one is and the high one is. Make sense to you guys? Yeah. What's that? From here to here? That's just half of the scores. It just shows me half of the scores are within this box. Okay? And it doesn't matter. You could have it could be test scores for the entire 6th grade, or it could be test scores. This is actually a way when you guys take the forward exam and they show us your scores, they actually show us some of them in box and whisker plots. It shows half your students were in this range, a quarter of them were here. Your lowest score was this, your highest score was this. They don't give us all of the scores. They don't tell us what each individual score was. They just give us a box and whisker plot. And you have to know how to read a box and whisker plot. That's my job here today. I'm trying to teach you how to read it. Okay, one more thing that I want to show you. You are going to have to find what's called the interquartile range. Super easy. Super easy. So you're going to have two things you got to do on your homework. One, you're going to have to learn how to make. You're going to have to make a box and whisker plot. Number two, you're going to have to find the interquartile range. Step numbers 1 and 2 are exactly the same as finding a box and whisker plot. So, step number 1, you put the data in numerical order and you find the median. So, we have a 3. We have, let's see, we got a 3, we got 2 4s, a 4, a 4. We got a 5, we got a 5, and a 6, and a 7. And find the median. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, median's right there. Boom. Okay. Q1. What is Q1? Look at this. Mason, what's Q1? Q1 is 4. It's the median of the first half. So Q1 equals 4. What's Q3? Elijah? 6. Okay? So Q3 equals 6. Step number 3, down here at the bottom, it says subtract Q3 from Q1. The difference is the IQR, or the interquartile range. So basically you take Q3 minus Q1, which is 6 minus, what is it, 4? I almost wrote 3. Equals 2, which equals the IQR. So finding the interquartile range is very, very easy. It's just the first 2 steps of the box and whisker plot, and then subtracting them. Easy enough? Okay. I have your homework for today is a worksheet. I will hand it up.